Yep. That's right. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Why not? 3 and 1. In the true spirit, if I could say. We're gonna go ahead and do this 4th chapter, because it's not too long. And that way we've got some real progress made on this. Since I can tell that's what needs to really get done at this point. So, welcome back. Welcome again. Happy to have you here with me. Jay Baldau. So happy to have you here. And so excited to get in on this next element of fire. Boom. The last chapter, some of you might be hitting these all back to back to back. But for those of you who aren't, that last chapter was really cool, a lot of fun. With the element of water and some information about that dear Yahweh, Yod-Heh, Vav-Heh, that we love so very, very much. Okay, so let's begin. On chapter 4, the elemental force of fire, Tejas. The elemental force of fire will be our next elemental force subject of study. As you know, we are coming back up the chain from below. The quality characteristic of the elemental force of fire is expansion. Ophiel tends to help you out for in case you were never a person who wants to highlight or underline or any of that. Better fix the angle of the camera too. In bold, if he's putting it in bold or changing the font, that's where you should be paying attention. As usual, for a deeper, more exact meaning of the elemental fire's quality expansion, we turn to the familiar fire we know now as real fire. You are completely aware of how a small fire, a first tiny spark, will progress from just a first tiny spark to an unlimited conflagration, holocaust. No better example could illustrate the property, quality of fire, which we could also call the fire of life. As fire is the main mover of our physical lives, all of the elemental forces are necessary in our physical world, life living. And especially so is the property of fire necessary in our physical lives, as I said before, but repeat for emphasis. And again, our bodies are warm. Warm-blooded animals, we are called truly. It is the quality of combustion, expansion of fire that makes our lives at all possible, keeps us going. Digestion is a type of elemental fire activity. Digestion makes possible the availability of substances which can be oxidized in the body tissues, oxidized in the body tissues to make heat and energy. All of these processes are a form of expansion. Please take note that as I describe the elemental forces, as we come up higher, the manifestations of the tattvas are more subtle and expansive. Earth and the descriptions of the functions of the element of earth were quite apparent and relatively simple. A solid earth block is just that, a solid, heavy, inert excuse me, is just that: solid, heavy, inert, massive. Anyone can see a block of earth material, work with or against a solid piece of earth material. Now, when you come up to water, you are already dealing with a substance that is a little tricky to handle. You can't pick it up in your hands very easily. It has some kind of a form, but not much. And so it is with the quality of water. Regarding the elemental force of fire's actions in your lives, millions of people never expand themselves in any way in their whole lives, but spend their whole time of physical existence in one narrow unexpansion type of existence. Well, I take a drink. That makes me think of lots of people, but one gal I worked with many years back who didn't ever even want to leave her little town, is because they had some grocery stores, whatever, all the crud like that you need to get by. I mean, barely even her house, but just that town itself. Like, forget about going to the city and all of that kind of stuff. But after, kind of talking with her a little about it, where it was almost like there was some kind of fear about it, or some kind of anxiety. I don't know, but just I find that interesting personally, because I've always wanted to just go see what all kind of stuff is out there in the world, go explore, especially my city, from the time I could kind of just even map out the city a little bit in my head as a young fella. I loved understanding my city, understanding where everything was, and when different places I would go, all of that. But everybody's different. I do understand that. But that can refer to many types of things, obviously, remaining in that narrow unexpansion type of existence. Then again, many people's lives are one glorious expansion, quality of fire, and how they do use it. So I want to say again that untold numbers of people use these elemental forces naturally and achieve great success in so living/doing. Whether you and I can achieve these results remains to be seen. Sad as it is for me to say this, but if you and I have heretofore lived our whole lifetimes in ignorance of the use of the elemental forces, it takes some material, physical time to make these forces work for you, and still more time to show results in a really big way. So please allow for this time interval. Thank you, Ophiel. I sure hate to say it, but I sure hate to say it, but it could be true that your descendants may profit more by your mastery of these elemental forces than you do. So I say again, trim your sails accordingly. Be vigilant to watch and note carefully every time your growing control over the elemental forces works, even in a small degree. What's up, sweet girl? Believe me, it is the happiness in the realization of success that is the real reward in this great work you are undertaking. There is another little matter I would like to mention here, even though it is a little out of place in the study of the elemental force of fire. We are all in this great work together in order to improve ourselves, to grasp some control over the circumstances that beset us on all hands. Often, as we progress slowly, we achieve a success and then fail to note the matter, to give ourselves credit, and applause for our achievements in the control of these elemental forces. Let's see. Okay. Give credit to a success and make note of it. To bring a degree of correction in this, please do this. Definitely note each time your control works and then feel good about it. This good feeling is your reward, and this good feeling leads to the expectation of more to come. But remember the time factor in the matter of big things, achievements. So much for that. And now we will return to fire, which section this is. From now on, we will deal with the previously studied forces in connection with each new force studied as something new is discovered, as I just did above. The symbol of fire is the/a triangle. Red is the color of the triangle, and green is the complementary color. Triangles are not so easy to draw accurately. And proportionally. But you should have no real trouble if you follow directions. Either take the dimensions from the sample noted in the book Art and Practice of Getting Material Things through Creative Visualization, or make up your own. The upward pointing point of the triangle suggests the idea of expansion. Expansion being the keynote of fire, as we know. We can note again at this time that the elemental force of fire is expansion, and the elemental force of water is contraction. These two forces are the ones that fluctuate the most. The other two forces, the elemental force of earth and the elemental force of air, hardly fluctuate at all, or very little, as you can easily perceive. There are a series of diagrams connected with this subject, which you had better reproduce here now at this point, as it seems a good place for it. So get out your drawing set. All right, everybody, you heard, hurry on, grab it. Nah, see how fun it would be to do this together. Because who knows what kinds of stuff it could bring out. Maybe as we're doing it, whatever, somebody says a little something because just the process is causing their brain to turn a certain way. Boom, all of a sudden now it has this whole little domino effect. Everybody's having all kinds of fun. Mental bombs going off. Wouldn't that be great? Okay, so where was I? Yeah, drawing set, that's right. Make 4 4x4 triangles as shown on the diagram sheet. You do not have to draw 2 of the triangles upside down, but just turn the card around. These 4 diagrams are some old alchemical type symbols and are, in order, air, fire, water, and earth. Now, I will proceed to give you another hidden occult secret. These triangles are really supposed to be shown as above, bare as it were, but in reality, they are colored too, as shown, marked, / diagrammed. Make 2 sets of 4 of these triangles and do a little meditation on the colored ones. We may / will refer to them again. Also, I will acquaint you where, at this point, with some, hopefully you've got that PDF, so you can take a look at those yourself. said I will, right, acquaint you with some more semi-occult secrets. If you take the two triangles, fire and water, and place them on top of each other, we'll have the following symbol. This has been called the Star of David, and is and has been widely used in the occult for many centuries. Let's go to the footnote. Make the six-pointed star like the diagram. You can take off the dimensions with your divider attachment on your compass. Weave the lines in and out as shown, or if this is too difficult at first, make star solid for practice. Color the point of each triangle according to which triangle it is. The star consists of a red point upward triangle and a blue point down triangle. Make the solid body of the star a combination of these two colors, or it should be a nice shade of purple. Practice mixing until you get this purple color right. Red up, blue down. Just like in what ritual? Drop it in the comments if you know. David, and later King David, appeared in a period when kingdoms and politics were fluctuating violently, and they are still fluctuating violently in that same spot / place. Ophiel wrote this in the 60s, right? First edition, 67. David brought a degree of order to the Jewish nation, and this order can be symbolized by the two triangles, one upon the other, and thus showing each of these violent forces in equilibrium. The two violent forces, the elemental force of fire and the elemental force of water, rule most all the changeable factors which make up the /our physical plane world, making allowances for time in relation to our personal lives. You can see for yourself by studying history how these two violent forces work against each other. Endless material things, nations, cities, institutions have come and gone up and gone down. And this movement is directly due to the effects of the interplay between these two forces, fire and water, expansion and contraction. Wow, Curve. This just keeps getting a little more and more interesting, huh? All right, excuse me. Better take another little sip of water here. Hopefully you're all really liking this. This is a lot of fun. I'm loving this. I'm loving getting into this elemental knowledge. Thanks, Trav. And thank you, God. S. Let's get back to it. You should make, draw, and paint a card with a Star of David as shown. When done, you can use it as a meditation symbol in your daily life. Used constantly and with feeling, you could be able to steady the forces of your life and tend to check the ups and downs that are the bane of our existence on this physical plane. This, at least, is a goal to look to. How well you can achieve this goal depends on your daily work with and understanding of all the elemental forces and especially these two, fire and water. It is my sincere hope that the previous knowledge and the knowledge to come will be of help to you in your future life's living, so that you can understand those queer changes that take place in our lives and change almost daily and even hourly. You must have noticed before in your life living how in a morning you can feel rather poorly, and in the afternoon of the same day you can feel pretty good. I'd say it's kind of the opposite for me. I usually feel like in the morning I'm feeling great, and then I get kind of sometimes like a weird transition in that space from afternoon to like evening, where I'll feel kind of off. Maybe I'll feel a little sad one day, or just maybe a little anxious or something, but I'll just feel off in some type of way, you know. There you go. Thanks, Ophiel. I recall an incident which happened years ago. At that time, I worked a stockbroker's office here in San Francisco. The time was early in the morning. We went to work early in the brokerage offices in San Francisco because of the time difference between San Francisco and New York City. And that morning, I sure felt poorly. My head ached, stomach was upset, I had chills, and just felt plain rotten. Ophiel was drinking at the strip club all night. I asked one of the firm's officers if I should go home after telling him all my symptoms, and he gave me permission to do so. For some reason, instead of going home, I went to a nearby restaurant and drank 3 cups of coffee, and that hot coffee restored me. He went to the nearby strip club and had 3 shots. I returned to work and worked the whole day. I told the firm's officer about my miraculous recovery, but to this day, I don't think he believes me. No shade, Ophiel, come on. We already cracked the code of your little peach nickname. Nah, he's laughing. He likes it. What had happened was that in this one particular case, the contraction, water, was arrested by the expansive fire effects of the hot coffee, and I recovered by equilibrium of force in my body. You can see from this incident how, in a general way, drugs and medicines do have an effect on the human body, which can be suffering from an effect of an expansion, fire effect, or a contraction, water effect. However, as I said before, do not attempt to build up any system of medicine based on the above general knowledge, or attempt to treat yourself accordingly, or depend on the above knowledge for self-treatment of any kind. Too much is still unknown for you to depend on this for certain. That's another danger with a lot of the spiritual stuff, or even getting the conspiracy type stuff, is you want to try to help others and save others, and so you go trying to preach some stuff like that he is admitting, like, hey, this is kind of unfounded, or you can, this isn't backed up by solid research. We don't know. There's still too much unknown, even though, definitely on one hand we do kind of know, but it's like, we need to see, as human beings, we need to see that laboratory documentation, that experiment and the results all backed up, documented, reproduced, the whole deal. But understandably so, What he was saying something in one of the previous chapters, which made me think of a friend, and she will sometimes, kind of make snarky comments about times in life when we would do types of healings through like a medicine man, a shamanic practice, saying things kind of like, oh, what the heck did they think that blowing smoke in somebody's ear was gonna do? But it's like, she doesn't really quite understand that whole metaphysical aspect and the different things that can play into it, where it could be some effect of bad spirit, which mostly is going to kind of all tie into this elemental thing. And maybe that shaman, that particular doctor, understands that whatever herb smoked and blown in and counteracts, balances that thing. But especially in those times, we didn't have a laboratory, we didn't have a way to verify that at all. So maybe one day soon we could see something like that. However, for now, don't go run into your family saying, hey, I found out in this book that I can heal myself through this elemental method. Let's run right out and tell the world. Let's run right back into this now. You should have noticed from the above, and I also call it to your attention now, that the outer affects the inner, and the inner affects the outer. This is an important piece of occult knowledge that is rather well known but little used. In the natural course of knowledge progress, you have reached a point where I can introduce another piece of occult knowledge. This piece of occult knowledge is called the Message on the Emerald. Centuries ago, some adept caused to be engraved on a large emerald a Gnostic message. In the ensuing centuries, when all other Gnostic occult messages and knowledge writings were being destroyed, this message engraved on the emerald survived, because no one could bring themselves to destroy such a gem. Here is the message from the emerald tablet. Oh, one down. Oh, good thing I already got the backup right here. True, without falsehood, certain and most true. That which is above is the same as that. I'm going to put a little closer for make sure to see. That which is above is the same as that which is below, and that which is below is the same as that which is above, for the performance of the miracles of the one thing. And as all things are from one, by the meditation of one, so all things have their birth from this one thing by adaptation. The sun is its father, the moon its mother, the wind carries it in its belly. Its nurse is the earth. This is the father of all perfection or consummation of the whole world. Its power is integrating if it be turned into earth. You shall separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross, suavely and with great ingenuity and skill. Your skillful work ascends from earth to heaven and descends again to earth, and receives the power of the superiors and of the inferiors. So thou hast glory of the whole world, therefore let all obscurity flee before thee. This is the strong force of all forces, overcoming every subtle and penetrating every solid thing. So the world was created. Hence were all wonderful adaptations, of which this is the manner. Therefore, I am called Hermes Trismegistus, having the 3 parts of the philosophy of the whole world. What I have to tell is completed concerning the operation of the sun. Please study the above. And he ends it like that. He ends it like that with the emerald tablet mic drop. Very cool. Love it. Thanks, Ophiel. Wow. Whew. This is really a good choice. I'm enjoying this a lot. I hope that's something that can be said for each and every one of you taking the time to share this read with me. Tomorrow, probably going to bring you this next chapter for elemental force of air, value, and other related following matters. But I think tomorrow that might be the only one. Because probably gonna do some other things tomorrow. Plus, come on, you already got the 3-in-1 today. Talk about abundance. Abundantly bringing you this Ophiel, this elemental knowledge. And again, for those of you who have or are currently doing that elemental course, I can imagine that this is going to be really useful and appropriate. Shout out Travis Magus. If you haven't, check out his channel, even though you're pretty much all coming from there. Thank you all. Thank you, Trav, and my Gnosis. Thank you guys for your support. All of you for your support. And just for your interest in all of this, because it's just, again, it's really cool. It's really fun to meet other people, even how distant they may be in real life, that you can still communicate with very quickly and easily about such things. So then, element of air tomorrow, most likely. And this book, I believe it is 12 chapters total. So that would mean we've completed the first 4. Yep. So tomorrow we'll get that 5th. Oh, I did take a look at that. Right after that comes that little ritual he was talking about, and that's a quick few pages. And I think we all would probably really enjoy that. Then, some Kabbalah, back to ritual. Just, oh, that's going to be good. It's going to be great. So far, not one little bit bummed out. In fact, I'm rather thrilled in this choice for book read. Well, more like this suggestion. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful whatever, wherever you are, whenever you get this. If it's still night, then have a good night. See you soon. Bye.